On defense and
Welcome to The Jump, presented by La Quinta.
Yes, that is Oracle Arena, where, as you just saw, the Golden State Warriors, let's just be honest, they thrashed Cleveland in Game 1 of the NBA Finals last night. And oh, that noise you hear? That is our crowd here, coming to you live from Lake Chalet in Oakland, California. And this, people, if you can't tell by the towels, this is The Jump. I am Rachel Nichols. This is Mr. Stephen Jackson, local hero. As you may know, we believe Warriors. Mr. Paul Pierce, NBA champion, Finals MVP, and our Hall of Famer, Mr. Tracy McGrady. Welcome, gentlemen. Guys, I was saying right before we came on, the Warriors won by 22, but it wasn't even that close. Were you getting my sense of humor? No?
Nah, it wasn't that close. That went over his head a little bit.
A little bit. Didn't feel that close at all. All right. The hammer, of course, in this whole equation was inarguably Kevin Durant. And it wasn't just his 38 points, but the way he earned them. He started the game by scoring on 5 straight baskets with LeBron as his primary defender, dominating in a way we have really just rarely ever seen between these two over the years. Of course, this slip from LeBron didn't exactly help. And then, man, the coast-to-coast dunk. I want to show that again because LeBron's face after KD passes him by, I mean, I guess all you can do is laugh at that. I don't know. But getting burned by the Warriors in transition, it's one thing. Flat out leaving KD defensively to flock to Steph Curry or Draymond instead, that just makes zero sense, and the Cavs did it several times. They couldn't have been ushering him to the basket more directly if they'd set up ropes and worn cute little red coats. Still, really, the most incredible thing about last night was that it was perhaps the first time all year the Warriors actually needed Kevin Durant. Think about that. On day 220 of the season, it is an amazing thing to say about an MVP caliber player smack in the middle of his physical prime. For most teams, a free agent acquisition like Durant, that would literally change the course of the franchise. For the Warriors, as good as KD was all season, and he was exceptional, he was also bizarrely almost irrelevant. Durant missed a chunk of the season with a leg injury, and shortly after, the Warriors went on a 13-game win streak. It wasn't that they were better without Durant, it's just that losing him didn't really matter. The only thing the Warriors needed him for, the only thing, was this 2-week stretch in June to get over the final hump they couldn't last year, LeBron James and a healthy Cavaliers team. We're talking about arguably the second best basketball player in the world, so that's a big move for such a tiny stretch of time. But if Game 1 is any indication, it was a very, very good investment for everyone out here. And guys, our producer Danny wanted to put at the bottom of the screen here, too soon to be talking sweep. But then we were like, Danny, is it too soon to say too soon to be talking sweep? Is it too soon to be talking sweep, T-Mac?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Too soon to be too soon?
Just too soon.
Okay.
Just too soon. We've seen this before last year. Completely different team by adding KD to this, this 73-win team of last year. But I think when you're talking about the best player in the world, and that's LeBron James, you can never count him out. And what the adjustments that they're going to make for Game 2.
Y'all keep saying that, but it looked like last night LeBron was playing well.
Well, he played well, but they were terrible on defense. They just showed the highlight of the backdoor lob that KD got. LeBron, you got to stay connected. This is the finals. You don't make those type of mistakes when you locked in. They wasn't locked in on defense, and it showed.
Yeah, I mean, transition defense, they're one of the worst in the league all season long. And that's just a recipe for disaster when you're playing against the Golden State Warriors, who are one of the best transition teams because they have Klay on one side running the wing. You got Steph Curry running the wing or have the ball in his hands. And then if you got KD coming up the middle, that's why you saw so many wide open dunks, because they were like, we're going to choose between stopping the ball or getting out to the shooters. And that's just a recipe for disaster. But Cleveland does have some room for improvement. They can do better with not turning the ball over and getting back on defense.
Everybody was running from KD last night. As you see, that's why he got all those dunks walking down the lane. Nobody wanted to guard him.
Did you see my Usher photo? I mean, that's
The Red
great.
Sea.
The Red Sea. Come on, bro.
You know what they look like, the Cleveland team? They look like the team that was not playing very good defense at the end of the regular season. Like, they reverted back to that. And having gone through the Eastern Conference, I mean, nobody's really challenging them. They're not playing this type of competition, this type of offensive power. So, they definitely need to make those defense adjustments in Game 2.
Okay, again, that's all nice to say.
Yeah.
Paul, I'm going to turn to you because you played against the Warriors this very season, this team. Your Clippers team definitely felt you had to run at them a couple times going into those games, and they did not go well for you guys. Everything you tried, nothing worked. What does that feel like?
It's a left out on an island type feeling. I mean, I had a chance to witness them put up like 50 points in a quarter, which is like I've never
crazy.
seen that in
That's
my
crazy.
19 years in playing basketball. So this team's upside and their ability offensively by adding Durant is just unlimited. So, Cleveland has to go back to the drawing board, figure out how they can defend a lot better, how they can control Durant and Curry. You can't let both of them get off. On a night where you don't let Clay get off, Draymond, they both played well defensively, but they gave really not much offensively. So you got to go back and see, what do we want to give up and what do we want to give, and what do we want to take away?
Well,
That's why it seems so dangerous.
Here's what nobody is really talking about, right? You talk about the two stars on each team. You talk about KD and Steph. You talk about Bron and Kyrie. Well, if you look at how Kyrie and Bron have to get their points, they're controlling the ball. They're not on the receiving end of anybody passing them the ball. So more so, they got to work a lot more often to get shots. If you look at KD and Steph, their ball movement, their body movement, their cutting, their slashing, they're on the recipient end of, passes from somebody else, and it's a lot easier for them to score the ball. So these guys got to find a way to get more easier baskets than, those guys on the other end.
That is, again, I love that you say it. I'm interested
Yeah,
to
I
see
mean,
if they can do it.
gotta
It's
do it.
hard against this team.
Sure.
I mean, that's why we're in the NBA Finals, right? It is difficult to do. We'll have to see if
Right.
these guys are up to it. I got to get to, maybe, is this the more important story of the night? I can't decide. KD and Rihanna, where are we here? I mean, no? Yes?
It's a
No?
love affair.
Shallow? No? Is that me being shallow? I mean, come on. In the third quarter, someone yells brick when KD is at the free throw line. It's actually Rihanna's friend, I think, sitting next to her. But KD glances over. Then after Durant hits a three in front of them, he stares and stares. They both, I like that, not Rihanna. They both spoke after the game. Take a listen.
You shot a three, kind of putting the dagger into him, and you looked toward the crowd toward Rihanna. Was that on purpose, or do you remember that? Or
I don't even remember that.
Don't get in that trap.
Yeah, I don't get in that. I'm cool. Have fun with that.
Don't matter. Get lost.
Wow.
King
Rihanna
really
is
king.
very publicly a LeBron fan. She has made this known. She has
if you
written
didn't know, you know now.
LeBron's name across her body at separate times. I'm just saying the woman is out there with her love of LeBron James. So we know who she was supporting last night.
Right.
Do you guys buy that KD wasn't staring her down after all she was doing on the
I
sideline?
took from it. KD hit the three and was like, "You need to ride with me." I mean, shoot. That's what it looked like to me.
Great translation. Great translation. Great
That's what it looked like to me.
Anytime you playing, y'all know this, if somebody from the sideline say brick or something crazy, off, you with us or something like that, and you make it, you turn to look at him, you do that all the time.
No, honestly,
I was the king at that.
I believe that he don't remember even saying anything to him. But no, I'm serious. I've been in situations like that where somebody will say, "Man, did you really say that to him?" I'm like, I don't know. I don't remember. Because you're in the moment, the adrenaline's flowing, and sometimes you forget things that you do in the ball game.
If it's Rihanna, though, I'm
Seriously.
gonna remember everything that
You're
happened.
going to remember if you looked at Rihanna.
Vividly. I remember everything. How
look
she
at
looked at me.
Rihanna.
Trust me. After the conversation we had last night,
Yes.
yes, he will remember everything about Rihanna.
I'm
But-
gonna remember.
You should have seen the two of them were
Everything.
sitting next to
I
me.
got an umbrella
Paul was
for it.
working. The two of them were sitting next to me at this game. The game left something to be desired, so they had a conversation about pretty much everything else going on in the arena. I will say Rihanna made her, it wasn't just in that moment and that she was not the one yelling brick, it was her friend. During points of the game, she started bowing to LeBron. She got up and they
Man.
seen at the
That's a
sideline.
little extra.
She dabbed on one of the fans, which I guess.
I mean, that's a little bit,
If Rihanna says it's back, maybe it's back. No, it's not back anyway. But, I think this is an important thing
The
to
king's
watch for
married.
game two. Very married.
Beautiful, educated woman.
Very, very married.
seriously.
Very married. The phrase Russ being Russ, we got to throw that out too, because usually it applies to fashion, right? Or something he's doing, eating seafood in Oklahoma, as he likes to say. Last night, it was his TV viewing habits. He posted this on Instagram during the game. For those of you, oh, that's nice little Photoshop. For those of you not familiar, that is Sister Act 2. He was watching that, I guess, instead of KD putting the beat down on Cleveland. I'm really not watching KD, guys. I want to make sure
Russ
everybody
has
knows
no
it.
interest in watching KD, Warriors, Cleveland. He's at home chilling.
This is
I guarantee he went back and forth a little bit.
Nah, he probably checks
This is
his
the utmost
Instagram.
pettiness. And I
Right?
love
Thank
Russ,
you.
though. But
Thank
this
you.
is petty.
This is why when everyone's like, oh, it's a media creation that Russ and KD are jawing at each other or that there's beef. No, Russ is doing this. It might not be on KD's side, but it is on Russ's side.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Come
yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Sister Act 2?
Sister Act 2.
I mean, I don't want to look. I mean, ABC did a good rating for this game. I wouldn't be shocked if some people drifted over to some other programming maybe in the third quarter. But in general, it was a good game. It was worth watching, and I have to think.
I have no
Russ
problem
Petty-
with him
I'm sure he
watching
just-
that in the second half.
Yeah,
he actually left the game.
We left, so I know he was watching the whole game.
You know,
Don't you say that out
Might
loud.
have
why
did it
not?
for the
It was a
gram.
blowout. What I want to watch that for?
Paul stayed throughout and was on TV
had no
afterward, I
choice.
believe, right?
Yeah,
He was being
he was
paid.
working.
He
He
was
had to
being
stay.
paid. Exactly. All right. I do want to end this segment with an update on Enes Kanter. I want to take you guys to take a look from Kanter. This was a tweet earlier. Hey world, my dad has been arrested by the Turkish government, the Hitler of our century. He is, of course, referring to the Turkish president. He's potentially going to get tortured, talking about his dad, as will thousands of others. Look, Kanter has been an outspoken critic of Turkey's current president. There is an arrest warrant for Kanter out of his own in Turkey. He was recently held up in Romania, you may remember, after his Turkish passport was revoked. Now, Enes was able to come home because here in the States because the State Department intervened, but this is obviously an incredibly serious situation. We wish him and his family the best and what is very, very scary for them. And of course, the NBA and the NBA Players Association will be monitoring this closely. All right, we're going to take a commercial break, but when we come back, we are going to ask our experts whether or not they think that Steph's performance versus Kyrie should silence some of Steph's critics. I know the fans here think Steph should not be criticized for anything, right, guys?
Too early.
The Jump is presented by La Quinta. Book at LQ.com and win at business. Welcome back to The Jump, presented by La Quinta.
Welcome back. The Jump is on the road. We are at Lake Chalet in beautiful Oakland, California. And I want to keep talking about Game 1. I know all these Warriors fans want to keep talking about Game 1. That is for sure. The Warriors, I mean, look, they looked incredible. The Cavs, a little less than incredible, especially their role players. Zach, I want to ask you, were you more impressed with the Warriors last night or more disappointed in the Cavs?
I was impressed with the Warriors. How they came out and was really locked in and focused on getting this game one and hitting first. They came out the more aggressive team, especially on defense. I think the biggest play of the game is when they tried to post Kevin Love early on Klay Thompson.
Oh,
He
yeah.
held him up.
Great defense.
Couldn't back him down and stripped the ball from him.
Dug himself a hole.
They set the tone of the game, right, Tracy? They dug himself a hole. They set the tone for the game. I was really impressed how they came out. And even Durant, he didn't come out shooting jumpers. He attacked the basket at a real aggressive yesterday. I love how they came out and
When
played.
everybody move out your way, you attack the basket too, right? The lane was wide open.
We say role player, but I mean he's one of their important starters. Tristan Thompson, Paul, what happened with him last night? He only played 22 minutes, scoreless, only 4 rebounds, and I could tell the Warriors were game planning for him, but still.
This is what I saw. I looked up, it was 3 minutes to go in the first quarter, and I saw, like, Tristan had 1 rebound. So, you know, you talk about a guy who's an energy guy, who thrives off getting on the offensive rebounds, a hustle player. He only has 1 rebound with 3 minutes to go in the first. That's a sign right there, like, I need to get him out. You know, probably change up the lineup, move LeBron to the 4, because LeBron was rebounding at a high rate.
They had all
Him
the
and Kevin
rebounds.
Love, they had all the rebounds. So that was a sign right there. I think after the first 6 minutes, you can tell from your energy players what kind of player they're going to be tonight. And when he had 1 rebound with like 3 or 4
Yeah,
minutes
you
going
got to
in the
get
first,
him out.
You got to get him out of
At
there.
that point, he becomes a liability because
Right.
that's what
But-
he's in the game
That's
to
what he's
do.
in there.
Right,
Provide
but
for your team.
he played well during the finals last year. He's
Yeah.
played well
It's a
against this
different year,
Warriors
Rachel.
team.
It's a different Rachel.
played
and,
well
and,
at
and I
Christmas.
can make a case that these bigs that they have now are better than the bigs that they had
It's a
last year.
different starting lineup for Golden State, too.
He's getting paid $80 million.
Role players
he
are,
should play well in
are
this
hit
series.
and miss
Oh, no question.
on the road.
I agree
You know,
with
they
you.
usually play
Right.
well at home. So they're hit and miss on road games. So you can kind of find out early the rhythm
And I never
from your
get
role
that.
players.
I never got that.
They're just more comfortable at home.
But
I never got that. I mean, I
well, you
think
guys never got a
you
break
have
being
less
on the
pressure.
road.
You have less pressure when you on the road.
Right.
Right.
I just never understood that.
Right.
I don't know. And then Klay Thompson, as you mentioned, I mean, look, he still hasn't found his shot, but he's played defensively so well
He
last
played great.
night.
He's great.
Well, that's why he's one of the best two-way players in our game, because that's what he provides. I mean, if his shot is not clicking, you know, he still provides great defense and have an impact on the game. A lot of people, you know, that are great shooters, that's just what they are, and they don't provide anything else. You look like Kyle Korver. If he's not making shots, then you got to get him out of the game. Well, this guy is a great shooter, and he's a great defender, and he's not making shots now, but he's actually getting open shots. He's just not knocking them down.
I better be careful, because if I'm on TV implying that Klay Thompson is a role player, I'm in trouble. It's not come to that at all. So we will discuss Klay a little bit later. I want to move on to Steph Curry. I don't know. The prompter says I'm supposed to say after a substandard performance in last year's final. The man did have a knee injury, but anyway, one of the big questions heading into these finals, how would Steph perform against Kyrie Irving? Kyrie has looked good against Steph the last couple times they played. Last night, Steph looked good against Kyrie. I mean, come on, right? I mean, Tracy, do you think last night's performance will kind of get Steph back into the clear air he deserves, or he's got to win the finals?
Well, I told you guys yesterday that I didn't need to see Steph being good. I needed to see him being great, you know, because Kyrie got the best of him. Regardless of what people say about him being injured last year or hurting with his knee, he still played, you know, 7 games, and Kyrie got the best of him. Being the 2-time MVP of our league, the first unanimous MVP for our league, I need to see that performance on this level, and it's been 2 finals we haven't seen that. Last night was that guy. And it's a great start. So I want to see that continuously as we move forward.
Can you guys explain to me what Kyrie was doing? I'm watching him early in the game, and the numbers are good. The stat sheet's okay for him. But if you look at it, to me, he looks like he's forcing so much stuff. Why do you do that as a star player?
I think Golden State did a great job yesterday of crowding the paint and making it difficult for him and LeBron, especially off the pick and rolls.
That's what he did last year.
They crowded them, though.
This
They did a great job.
is who Kyrie is. He was just making shots last year. He did the same thing last year. Forcing shots, but he hits tough shots. He's a tough shot maker.
Yeah, but they clogged their lane up. They got their hands on a lot of balls that they normally wouldn't get. And JaVale McGee did a great job of challenging every shot that came into the paint. They defense was great.
LeBron dunked on him.
Yeah, until LeBron dunked on him. But I said that yesterday. I said JaVale McGee is going to challenge all the shots. He don't care about getting dunked on, and that's what Cleveland haven't seen in the playoffs.
I mean, we talk about last year what he was able to do, but you forget he wasn't that effective at the rim last year before Bogut got hurt.
Right.
So now you put in JaVale McGee, who's a rim protector. It's tough for him to finish at the rim. You know, at his size, no doubt about it. He's the best point guard finisher in the league. But when you got somebody like JaVale who's altering shots, going after every block shots, it gets tough.
What about the mental thing, Paul? When you're getting into the NBA Finals and you're the star, you know you have to perform. Kyrie is trying to live up to the game-winning shot he had in Game 7 last year.
It's just a filling out process for him. He's going to get better. I mean, great players figure it out. He had a subpar game up to his standards, but as the series goes on, he's going to be a better player. Trust me, he'll figure it out.
You got to understand, in a series, that's what you do. You go from game to game. You figure it out. You make adjustments. You're going to make adjustments, and great players definitely
Look, I mean, great. Listen, you can be great all you want. That necessarily doesn't mean you're going to play great every game. I mean, you're going to have off games.
Right.
That's just what happened. Can you make the adjustments from game to game?
I mean, Kyrie-Steph is such a fun matchup.
Yes.
I'm really looking forward to the way this goes going forward. I want to move on to an issue that plagued the NBA really much of the regular season. We had superstars resting in big games. Yesterday, I asked Commissioner Silver at his annual press conference just sort of what the solution is for the league, because they basically said, hey, we won't have the big game problem. What about the 82-game problem? Take a listen.
One of the ways we're going to solve the problem is we agreed with the union to add a week to the regular season for next year. So we haven't done that yet.
Right.
And so the same number of games spread out over additional week. So it's what we're learning, I mean, back to your point about the science and the data, is that it's not 82 games, it's not the length of the season, it's the time between the games, and that there's a direct correlation between fatigue and injury on the part of the players.
Okay, I'm going to just soapbox for a moment. Please indulge me here. I get that players have to rest and that the science has changed and it's a little bit different. Say when you were starting your career, Tracy, and Paul, you just finished, and you guys have all these trainers telling you, hey, don't do a back-to-back on the road, third game in 4 nights, all of that. The NBA set this schedule up. We didn't set the schedule up. The fans who are being asked to pay for 82 games, We did not set the schedule up. So if you guys are telling us this schedule, we've just figured it out, it's not quite workable anymore, don't ask me to continue to pay for it. Change the schedule. And I don't think that they're going to start reducing the schedule. No one's giving money back, right? They're not going to make it 60 games. But what I asked Adam last night is stretch it over more time so that you guys could feel like you could play in every game, or at least try to. Doesn't that make sense to everybody?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. But look, we've been playing 82 games for like how many years now? The last 30-something years. You got better trainers. You got better athletes. You know, it's just that the NBA wants to put the best product on the floor every single night. And so by doing that, you have to either take some games back or extend the season, because people want to see the best of the best every night. You don't want to, go to the game and you're like, oh, LeBron's not playing tonight.
Right.
Oh, Steph's not playing tonight. Oh, he just paid $300, sit front row. But you got to do something to accommodate the players, because like back-to-backs, for instance, you go from Portland to Denver. Portland is a Western time zone. Denver is a Midwest time zone. So you don't even get a full 24 hours of rest. So that's a problem right there.
Yeah, I was just thinking, I mean, the way to eliminate a lot of these guys resting as superstars is to take away those 4 games, 5 nights. That's what really catches up to you throughout the course of an 82-game season.
Right.
So if you stretch it out to where you don't have these back-to-backs like this, then the guys have no reason to sit out.
Well, so Adam's point right there was they're already going to stretch the season by a week. They're going to start a week earlier next season. And he also said something interesting he hadn't said before, which is that they've been talking to the arenas, and they've been saying, we need more priority. Stop scheduling concerts instead of us. Stop scheduling, the circus instead of us. Make sure that we get some priority so we can stretch these games out. I still think you will see players taking games off next season. Paul, you played in the game that half the Cavaliers did not play in against you guys on a Saturday night. And I got to say, I mean, if we did a hockey schedule, an NHL schedule where we started at the beginning of October instead of the end of October, would it be the end of the world? I don't know. More basketball. Who doesn't like more basketball?
I hate it.
You do?
Leave it alone. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Look, we in the finals.
It's broke.
We in the finals. All the stars are playing, right?
Very true.
Yeah.
We're good.
We're good.
We don't need no rest. We're in the finals. All the stars are playing in the finals. This is what everybody wants to see.
But what you're missing
Everybody's
out.
playing. Don't worry about the games. Everything's fine.
But what you're
Stop
missing out
whining.
on, listen though.
Baby.
Listen.
Stop whining. 82 games
If
is
LeBron
fine.
James is an Eastern Conference team, which that's what he is,
Right.
and he comes out west, and
He not gonna do that.
a family has paid their hard-earned money to come see LeBron James play. He's only coming there one time. They're gonna miss out on that.
Right.
Great.
That's
That's
half the
broke
basketball.
system.
That's bad for him.
If the NBA, I understand your point is that he should play in that game. I get that.
Things happen.
But things happen.
Get over it. Come next year.
If the NBA messages to its fans that regular season games don't matter, eventually fans will
Come
start
on,
to
Stack.
believe that.
Next year.
And that's not good for anyone.
I win
Right?
the championship.
This is what I think. All right, I want to go to a break, but first, we got to get in today's distant replay. This is brought to you by Garmin, and still Michael Jordan action. You're all going to want to see this. Take a look.
This guy.
Well, Detroit will calm you down. They'll work their plays. Steal. He kept it in bounds. Here it is again. Oh! This is one for the book, UB. He's done a lot of great shots, but I've never seen this before from him. Bulls are up 8-2, and Michael Jordan has already given them their money's worth.